Hi guys, welcome back to Remedy Official Vlogs, and I know it's been 2 months since I've uploaded my video, my last review, and it was from QuickStyle, a dongle M15. Now I'm back. It feels good to be back, and I just like to do a little bit of recap or update you because my son transferred here with me and joined my band as my guitarist, and we've been busy this couple of months, like 2 months ago. Anyways, right now he's behind the camera and he's helping me with this vlog, and the edits will also come, the out result, and I hope that you guys will like our new style of vlogging and reviews. Now what I have for you today, for today's video, is a product from TINHIFI T2 DLC. This unit was sent to me by Hi-Fi Go. You guys rock. Thank you so much for sending this to me, and in exchange for this honest review. Now the configuration of the T2 DLC is a 110mm dynamic driver, which is a DLC driver with the impedance of 30 ohms and a sensitivity of 103 dB and a frequency response of 20 Hz to 20 kHz. Now when I was reviewing this the T2 DLC, out of the box it sounded very energetic, too fun for me. So I use it for like a week, playing it over and over again with my system, with my setups, and after a week of hours of playing, maybe 15 to 20 hours, things started to calm down. The lows of the T2 DLC is quite strong and have a very good impact. For my preference, it's a little bit too much because I prefer neutral sets or neutral sound signature. But what I like or love about the lows here are the mid bass. It is one of the engaging or full of lush and rich sound lows mid bass that I've ever heard in this price range. Those drum kicks and bass guitars are well defined, has good details, not the most detailed lows that I've ever heard, but it is very engaging, it is very organic and very correct in timbre and tone. Now maybe the T2 DLC lows are not aimed for bass heads, so this is not for you if you like too much of that bass, but it gives a good rumble when a track calls for it. Moving on to mid-range, I love the mid-range of the T2 DLC because it is not in any way recessed. I'm a mid-centric guy. I love my instruments or vocals a little bit forward than the usual, and with T2 DLC I did not feel, or it didn't sound recessed at all. So vocals is one of the best traits of T2 DLC, and it's very engaging. It favors female vocals by a bit rather than male vocals. My instruments like Rhodes acoustic pianos, electric guitars or acoustic guitars all sounded very natural and real to life. It didn't sound artificial or synthetic in any way. Well, it's a dynamic driver. It's one of the special traits of dynamic drivers. They always sound natural compared to BA or balanced armatures or planars. But then again, the T2 DLC gives you a very warm, organic, engaging elements when concerning the mid-range. I love the mid-range here, and actually it tickled my fetish when it comes to mids. Trebles, safely tuned. That's what I will tell for the trebles. Well reserved. Thank you, Andy, for giving me that term, well reserved. Well, it's a little bit too much reserved or safe for my preference. There are some tracks, rock tracks, that I'm looking for that grit, for that bite on top, like cymbals or hi-hats, and T2 DLC is quite lacking on that department. There are times that that cymbal strikes are a little bit like smoother than the usual. But then this will favor treble sensitives. I have a very special like benchmark when it comes to trebles because I'm also a treble sensitive. My hearing is sensitive to too much highs or hotness, but then I also want that bite or grit, so I'm a bit really hard to please when it comes to trebles. So the T2 DLC for me is safely tuned, which will favor treble sensitives, but will leave treble heads hanging. Now moving on to technicalities. Soundstage is nothing special, but it has good room. It doesn't feel cramped or narrow, but there's nothing out of the ordinary. And you know, when it comes to soundstage, IEMs are the poorest, because it goes directly inside your ear, so sound is closer than headphones or earbuds. Imaging is probably the best aspect of T2 DLC because I could follow elements wherever they are placed. And if it's placed left or right, far left or near right, it is quite accurate and pinpoint for its price range, I mean. And I think T2 DLC has a very, very decent imaging. Separation is very decent and instruments never sounded overlapping or mushy. Bleeds of frequencies are also controlled, very, very minimal. And speed is very adequate. It's very fast. It catches up with my complex and busy tracks. It's not as fast as my favored B, A, or balanced armature sets like my Kinera Eden Golden or my Bravery, the C Audio Bravery. But for a dynamic driver, it is really, really commendable. Details must be the least of its technical aspect because a lot of the elements are, for my preference, is a little bit smoothened and it's a little bit soft. It doesn't have that edgy character unlike what I really prefer. And there's one nitpick that I would like to address, which me and Andy talk about. One of the weakness of T2 DLC is it is left and right oriented. I mean, because it is left and right oriented, the center sound presentation is somewhat left behind. So it is shallow, but this is a very, very minuscule thing. No, I hope that you will not discern it, but I did, and it is not much that it will turn you off from your listening experience. Now, speaking of comfortability, T2 DLC is one of the IEMs that I think is very, very comfortable to wear. Even when I'm napping in the afternoon, I could sleep with it, even with my head on the side. And even though it's almost like bullet type, like this one, still it is very, very, very comfortable. Don't let it fool you. And I think it shares the same comfortability with the one product that I've also tried from TINHIFI, which is the T3 Plus. Very, very comfortable, and even though it's metal, it is very light and it doesn't wear your ears down, it doesn't give you any physical fatigues, and it gave me a very good ceiling and fit and isolation. Now, Hi-Fi Go was very kind enough to give me some freebies that came with the T2 DLC, and it is this neck strap, as you can see, and also this cable winder or cable organizer. It's very, very, very convenient. And thank you, Hi-Fi Go, for giving this to me. And the neck strap is actually, it's either you like it or you hate it. Some people from the audio company find it very silly, but I've tried it, or I've used it in some of my vacation or when I go outside when doing my errands. And actually, it is very, very somewhat or somehow it is very, very convenient. It is not perfect. The one thing that I could suggest maybe to Hi-Fi Go is to make it a little bit heavier so it will not, because I ride in a motorcycle most of the time and sometimes it does get dragged by the wind. So excuse me. So thank you Hi-Fi Go for sending this one to me, and I will use it frequently as I can. Thank you very much. Okay, wrapping up this review, I think the T2 DLC is a very competitive set on the current releases of TINHIFI. They say it is an improved version of the original T2, and I haven't heard the original release, but I think on its own, it's a very, very, very good release from TINHIFI. I honestly think that it is a good balance of technicalities and tonality, though there are some hit and miss, like the trebles for me is very safely tuned, and sometimes it lacks that bite and grit. But as far as technicalities go on this price range, there's really nothing much to compare. Some people say it is on par with Dunu Kima, if you have heard of that one, that they're almost the same or on par with each other. Now, I think this set is aimed for mature listeners who wants a fun sounding set, and those who want vocal-oriented tracks will like the T2 DLC. And to those in search of a very versatile IEM, that an all-rounder, and this is for treble sensitives, if you are sensitive to those high frequencies, and on a budget consumers who wants to start diving to mature listening. To me, this is far from neutral, but it is a good introduction if you are trying to shy away from basshead level IEMs or treble cannons, like they say, that too much treble. This is a good balance, and for its price range, it is very competitive. Now, I would like to thank once again Hi-Fi Go for sending this to me. And if you want to read the full details of the T2 DLC with some photos of it, I will give the link down below at the description. Now, this is all for wrapping up for today's video, and I hope I catch you on the next one. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new here, and if you want the content, if you like the content, please support the channel, and catch you again soon. Remember, love the music more than the gears. Cheers.